What's up guys, Tommy Bowyer here from Movie Rewind, and today I will be reviewing The Batman. So without further ado, let's get into it. The Batman was released in 2022, it was directed by Matt Reeves, and it's the first solo Batman film in 10 years. And I have to say, because of how many times The Batman has been delayed, I was unsure whether it was going to be any good. I was wrong. The Batman is a very dark and unique Batman film, which I think will be remembered for a long time to come. Now, I'm going to try and keep this review mainly spoiler-free. There will be some spoilers coming up later in the video, so don't worry, I will give a warning when I'm going to be discussing spoilers, but for the most part this is going to be a non-spoiler review. Robert Pattinson is great as a dark and tortured Bruce Wayne, but as Batman he is an absolute badass. From the first time we see Pattinson as Batman, he is amazing. Anyone who thought that he would not be suitable for the role was wrong in my personal opinion. He brings so much variety to his performance, and as Bruce Wayne you can feel that this character is damaged. We don't have what Christian Bale did, make Bruce Wayne appear to the public at least as this very eccentric kind of playboy billionaire. No, Pattinson's performance makes this character look dark. You would think that this Bruce Wayne would be beating up criminals in the night as Batman. I also like that Batman, we see a lot of detective work done by Batman. This is a Batman who, despite being very early on, I think he's only been Batman for 2 years in this film, he has all the tech and he's trying to solve Riddler's crimes, which I think is great. So Pattinson, you're amazing in this film. I can't wait to see more of what he could bring to the role in future films, because it really was a breath of fresh air. I loved his performance as Batman. Speaking of great performances, Zoë Kravitz is amazing as Catwoman. One of the best on-screen portrayals of Catwoman I have seen. The chemistry that she shares with Pattinson's Batman will get you hot under the collar in a couple of scenes. They work so well together. I like the fact that Selina Kyle is also quite a damaged character due to her backstory, so you can understand why she would be drawn to the Batman. I like the fact that she's not really a villain. If anything, she teams up with Batman to try and solve the mystery behind Riddler's murders. So I really liked her. Great design. I like the fact that she has very long nails so that she can scratch her enemies, very much like a cat. I would love to see her in other Batman films. I think that her and Pattinson work really well together, and it was a real highlight of the film. Out of all of the performances, it is Paul Dano as a serial killing Riddler which will really stay in your mind. The costume that he wears, a mask with glasses over it, is quirky as well as very distinctive. It makes him stand out. Some of the interactions he has with Batman in this film were pure highlights for me. I love it when you have a villain who you really can understand why he's doing what he's doing. And with the Riddler, his plan, at some points in this film, you're like, well, you know what? He's not half wrong. There's actually method to his madness. He is an amazing character. He will definitely be one of the standout Batman villain portrayals. I don't really know what they could have done differently. He was perfect. The idea of making the Riddler a serial killer was great. It suited a darker Batman film. And the fact that all of his riddles and all of his mind games with Batman, it really will have the viewer trying to figure out who the Riddler is and why he's doing what he's doing and what plot twist is to come next. So to use the Riddler in a more detective-orientated Batman film really was the way to go, because Dano, he did amazing. One aspect of this film which I really enjoyed was the friendship between Batman and Commissioner Gordon, portrayed by the amazing Jeffrey Wright. These two work really well together. I like the fact that Batman has kind of a partner. Commissioner Gordon tries to help Batman solve Riddler's crimes a lot during this film, which I think works really well. I also like the fact that the Batman is not really scared of the police. He'll go to crime scenes with Commissioner Gordon and the police are there, and it really does show how loyal Commissioner Gordon is, because he stands up for Batman. When some of the other police officers are like, wait a minute, you can't involve Batman in this case, he could be a suspect for all we know, Commissioner Gordon's like, no, this guy is the only person who can help us solve solve this case. If you want to stop more murders, then we have to let the Batman do his thing. So I really do like that aspect of the film. Other cast members such as Andy Serkis as Alfred and Will Ferrell as the Penguin are also really good. Very well cast. The practical effects done on the Penguin are great. It honestly doesn't look like Will Ferrell. I went to see it with my dad, and when the Penguin was first introduced, my dad actually said, "Is that Robert De Niro?" So yeah, the effects were really good, and Will Ferrell was amazing in that role. I have to say though, with both Ferrell and Andy Serkis's Alfred, I would have loved to see more of them. I just feel like they were so good in those roles that I wish they had more screen time. But that's me being really nitpicky. It didn't take away from the film. They have their standout moments, but I just wish that I'd seen more of them. I would say the main thing which makes this film great, however, is how good the story is. The plot in this film is tight. Despite the film being 3 hours long, every single scene felt like it contributed to the eventual outcome of the story. There's no filler in this film. I was glued to the screen throughout because of the idea of the Riddler being a serial killer and the Batman's trying to figure out what the hell is going on by trying to solve Riddler's riddles and puzzles that he throws him is great. I was glued to the screen throughout. I would say that it keeps the viewer invested in the film, which for a long film can be difficult to do, but time flew by. The Riddler really does feel like the puppet master in this film. He's pulling all of the strings and the Batman is just trying to figure out what the hell is going on. I tried to figure out what was going on and I couldn't. That's how good the mystery is. Also, some of the plot twists in this film were amazing. Some of them come as quite big surprises, I have to say. Now, the ending of this film is good. I do enjoy it. I think it's a good conclusion to the story. If I was being nitpicky, there's a couple of flaws I have, but nothing major for the most part. I thought this was an amazing film. The plot works really well. It really does show why Batman is the world's greatest detective, because he has to try and solve the problems and try and figure out what's going on. So the plot is great. It will keep the viewer invested throughout, and some of the plot twists are exceptional. So my scene of the film, and this is where the spoiler warning comes in, because there will be spoilers for this section of the video. So if you have not seen this film, please go and see it before you watch this section. Now, I've actually picked 3 scenes in this film which I think are standout. The first is the initial murder committed by the Riddler, because that just sets the tone for the film straight away. When the Riddler breaks into the mayor's house and just bludgeons him over the head again and again until he's dead, that's an amazing scene, because that shows that you're in for a very darker film. People will be dying in this film, and that was great. That just set the tone for the film straight away. I love the phone conversation between the Batman and the Riddler when the district attorney has the bomb around his neck. The Riddler is great. Dano steals that scene. I also love the fact that it's done on a phone. Because you can see the Riddler doesn't have great quality. It's quite low quality. It adds an eeriness to that. This could just be any normal guy going out and committing crimes. So I really did like that scene. It was great. And also the scene in which Riddler is caught and he's in Arkham Asylum and the Batman comes to visit him. And for a second, the Batman and the viewer thinks that Riddler knows Batman's true identity, because he keeps saying Bruce Wayne very softly, and Pattinson steals it in that scene because you can see he's looking up at the camera and he's thinking Riddler's going to out me here in front of everyone. And then Riddler's like, oh, he's the one we didn't get. And the relief I felt in that moment, because for a second you thought, oh my God, Riddler knows that Bruce Wayne is Batman and he's about to tell everyone. So that was an amazing scene. That really did have me on the edge of my seat. The fact that I had to pick 3 scenes, which I all thought equally could be the scene of the film, really does show how great this film is, because there are a lot of scenes in this film which could have been in this section of my review. An amazing film, many standout moments, a lot of them involving the Riddler, because as I said before, Paul Dano, he kills it in this role. So in conclusion, director Matt Reeves took inspiration from the movie Seven to create a dark and exciting mystery which took full advantage of Batman's record as the world's greatest detective. Pattinson is amazing in the role of Batman, and scenes between him and Kravitz's Catwoman are an absolute delight. Paul Dano makes this film all the more better for his portrayal of a serial killing and very disturbed incarnation of the Riddler, and he will always be remembered as one of the great Batman villain portrayals. I have to say that the Batman was an absolute joy to watch. It is very unique, different from the Dark Knight trilogy, but that's a good thing, and if they make a sequel, I will be first in line to go and see it, and that is why the Batman gets a very well-deserved gold ranking. Phenomenal film, first film of 2022 I have seen, and it's going to be difficult to beat because I really enjoyed this film. So thanks for watching, guys. I really do hope you enjoyed my review of The Batman. Please remember to like, comment and subscribe in order to receive great and maybe even improved quality content in the future. Now, hopefully I will be doing a discussion with my good friend MLC in the coming weeks, in which we will be discussing The Batman in further depth, including a lot of spoiler talk. So if you've seen the film, then you might like to check that out. Anyway, I hope you have a good day and I will see you in another one. See ya!